Voidborn, The Parasite Awakens. Chapter 1, The Discovery. The USS Andromeda had drifted through the vast silence of space, a lone speck against the endless black. The crew of 7 had been on a deep space reconnaissance mission, studying celestial anomalies beyond the reaches of known exploration. That was when they found it, a derelict vessel floating lifelessly near a barren exoplanet. No distress calls, no sign of movement. It was ancient, covered in layers of dust-like sediment, its hull corroded by time and radiation. Commander Elias Graves ordered an investigation. "We'll run a short expedition," he said. "Could be valuable tech on board." They should have left it alone. Chapter 2, The Infection. The moment they breached the ship, they knew something was wrong. The air was stale, thick with something organic, something alive. Every surface was coated in a dark, spore-like residue. Dr. Harlow, the ship's biologist, took samples, placing them in sterile containment. But within minutes, the samples moved. They pulsed, as though breathing. Back on the Andromeda, the crew ran diagnostics. The results were disturbing. This organism wasn't just surviving the vacuum of space, it was thriving. Then the sickness started. It began with Lieutenant Park. Sweats, muscle spasms, erratic behavior. He became unresponsive, staring at the wall as if something unseen whispered in his ears. Then, he started speaking in a voice that wasn't his own. "Why do you resist?" By the time they restrained him, black veins had spread across his body, and something inside him twitched beneath his skin. By the next day, Park was gone, but he didn't die. He changed. Chapter 3, The Mind's Betrayal. It spread faster than they could contain it. One by one, they lost themselves. The parasite didn't just infect the body, it rewrote the mind. It learned from them. Graves locked himself in the cockpit, watching the security feeds. His crew, his friends, now moved with eerie coordination. They weren't themselves anymore. Harlow cut her own face open, revealing writhing black tendrils beneath her skin. Engineer Vance screamed as his bones snapped, his body rearranging itself into something new, something efficient. The ship's pilot, Ortiz, still sat at the controls. Her eyes were blank, her fingers twitching. The Andromeda was no longer following its planned trajectory. They were heading home. They were bringing the parasite to Earth. Chapter 4, The Last Survivor. Graves fought against the infection. He injected himself with a cocktail of stimulants to keep in control. He sealed off the cockpit, but he could hear them scratching at the door. Through the intercom, they whispered to him in perfect unison. "You will join us soon, Commander." His body betrayed him. His skin itched. His vision blurred. It was inside him now. Through the viewing window, Earth loomed closer. They were almost home. With his last ounce of will, Graves disabled the ship's autopilot and sent a distress signal to Earth. "Do not let us land." But his fingers moved on their own. And the last thing he saw before losing himself completely was his own hand reactivating the landing sequence. Chapter 5, The Arrival. The USS Andromeda entered Earth's atmosphere at dawn, streaking like a dying star across the sky. Authorities scrambled to respond. No radio contact, no signs of life. The vessel crash-landed in the heart of the remote wilderness, sending plumes of fire and debris across the landscape. When the recovery teams arrived, they found no bodies, only black, pulsating residue leading to the forest. Then the missing crew walked out of the wreckage. Their faces were not their own anymore. And as the first responders rushed forward, they smiled. The infection had begun.